Hey folks, Brian. Apologize for the scruffy. We played RQG tonight, and I had a full house. Everybody made it. Oh, so we did a little bit of catch up, I think, discussion at the beginning, but the lunar line from it was already folding down, so they're just all they're going to just scatter, right? Same as intent. These guys are defending this round. They're going to turn and flee. And of course, some of the players being way players are, oh, they're going to let them away. We're going to hunt them down. We're going to attack every round. And it didn't quite work out exactly how they were thinking, maybe. But anyway, most of them were willing to just let them go as well. And then Juchi was going to switch weapons and pull his bow out, kind of thing. But first round, everybody still attacks. The Lunars defend. Everybody made their rolls pretty much. I don't think anybody got hurt. And then, on 12, they all step back. And then when they flee, they get enough initiative. Striker 1, they're moving. 3 hexes. So, rest was kind of following number 3 around. And 1 and 1, the front guy and back guy, took off, and number 5 disengaged from Juchi, and they take off, and they're just kind of scattering out and about. And Rush is following them until they get to strike rank 6, and with all of her high dexterity and she had mobility on, no coordination. She had coordination on, so that dropped her strike rank, dex strike rank, excuse me, 0. And so 5 strike ranks change your statement of intent. 1 strike rank to fire disruption. And so she stopped at 6. And then on 12, she's firing disruption at number 3, the guy she was following. And it was just kind of moving forward. And when they took off, kind of let him go kind of thing. But then the spirit is chasing after the guy he was on. They did, that first round. The guy actually got a special success on his spirit magic, and Miriam's fetch got a regular success. There was actually some concern that I had on how much damage is the fetch doing and why, that kind of thing. Because while the fetch uses the shaman's skills, spirit combat skill, the damage is still based upon the fetch. It's the fetch's spirit who's powering that attack, right? I think we kind of got that across at the end, but they did have a glamour up on the fetch, so it was still pretty hefty. But anyway, so they got special success. So he does the damage, does double damage, and he was doing like a d6 plus 3, so that's 2d6 plus 6. He did some pretty decent damage. I don't remember how much now, but the fetch had spirit screen up. So only like 7 points got through, maybe 5 or 7. I don't remember which one now. Got through, and so there's no discussion on can the fetch slough off spirit combat magic point damage to the shaman the same way the shaman can slough off magic point damage to the fetch. I'm going, doesn't seem right, but it kind of makes sense. So I let him do it. And he did. The fetch followed down the woman around, do one more attack, and then he was done at that point. Because at that point, the rest of the line is starting to collapse. This little piece of skirmish is turning into a rout. And then I go into a little narrative piece. In fact, it's in the live play, in the description, and about different things going on. And then Herrick and Jariel, the Razoress, having their fight. And I forgot where I took that verbiage from, but I was reading off all this kind of. He gets his foot cut off, and a slash from his eye to his hip, and then he broke his sword when he broke her leg, and and he rips her open with his left claw and bites her heart out of her chest. Takes a thong, wraps it around his neck. Oh, yeah. Fun times in Glorantha. So this little narrative piece, they move down to Bagnot. They siege it. There's just two little units there. The Red Emperor's taken off north. He goes to furthest. He's getting away. Um, Argrath wants to pursue, but Herrick says, "Hey, you told me you were going to help me with the Black Horse County. Let's go now. We're done here." That kind of thing. So there's a split in the army. They leave a couple forces here to garrison the place, and the players are with that. The rest of the army goes south. Plus, there's a piece of the army that's on their side of the mountains that's mopping up the, or at least had been mopping up the brew. And so that ended the combat, right? So we went through with, again, Andrew. Thank you. Combat on the players in having an influence on the overall battle, right? Yeah, we did the worship to get the magic going, and that was the only thing we really did. And I was kind of thinking that maybe we should treat it like inspiration. Whereas if you're successful is plus 20, a special is plus 30, a critical is plus 50 for your battle skill roll. Failure then becomes minus 20 instead of 0. And a fumble is minus 50 instead of the minus 30. It's a little more stringent, but it follows a consistent pattern. There, as I was looking for, right? Some consistency. So I'm thinking maybe I'll go ahead and make that adjustment in my Glorantha. And so they all make their worship rolls for the magic bonus, and then they make the battle skill rolls. And based off of that gives us our victory points. And I didn't bother rolling for the other side. I was just looking at what happened. Well, the narrative I had said they're slaughtering 50% of the forces are dead, right? So that's like massive. So that's 3 victory points there for the massive casualties. So I add up all their victory points, and somebody actually missed their roll. So there's a -1, and there's a +1, and a +1, and a +1, and a +1, -3, 0. No real benefits for these guys. But I had them roll on the siege of, oh shoot, what was it? Page 46 of the Wonder Isles? Shoot. Herrick Berserk and his pirates are doing something, and you have a part of your background where you may be involved with this fight, and so you can get stuff, right? So I just used that as my baseline for their plunder. And a couple of them got D6 times 100 lunars. I'm thinking 100 to 600 lunars. When you look at the costs of things, this one is starting to really concern me. Even a noble, right? How much is a noble? Noble's making 200 lunars a year, average, right? That's not even half of a training for a point of power with your temple. It almost seems like maybe I should take some of these hundreds of lunars value things and decrease them by 10%. Not by 10%, by a tenth. To a tenth. There we go. So instead of it costing 100 lunars for some, I was looking at something that was 100 lunars. That'd be just 10. 500 lunars for training down to 50, which is almost a year's pay for a soldier. And we're charging 500? That just seems out of whack. And then on the flip side of that is magic costs almost nothing. A permanent A one-use rune spell costs you 100 lunars. Oh, really? That's 2 years pay for a soldier. Maybe. But it just seems like there's no... And we ran into this later on, if you listen to the live play, where we do the... end of year phase, where you get your money. Here's your 60 lunars, soldier. Pay 10% for your ties. That leaves you with 54. Oh, and it costs you 60. Oh, well, the soldiers are taken care of. Bad example. Farmer. 54 lunars. It costs you 60 to stay a free man. You're in the hole by your tithing to begin with. Just there's something. I kind of think maybe the idea was that you're going to get enough bonuses and lasers. Otherwise, everybody has to go. Well, maybe they do. Everybody raids local people back and forth, stealing cattle and that kind of stuff, and just to keep their standard of living up. Maybe that's possible. I wasn't thinking about that. But anyway, so they do this. This is their reward kind of thing, right? So two of them got plunder. Two of them rolled on the heirlooms table. One got spear screen matrix and the armband thing, 2 point, and then the other one got an actual spirit binding crystal. Is that what it's called? Spirit binding crystal? Spirit crystal. Well, sorry, I'm drawing a blank. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning right now. I've been up way too late, but I did have a Monster and 2 Mountain Dews today. So they got those. One of them was actually powered. It's got the spell storing ability, 4 points. And so Ivana got that one, and so she later on, after the end of... Yeah, because we were at dark season. No, storm season. We did the end of year phase, and she got an extra point of power, so she used that to attune to the stone, so she can use that. And then Daven had a run-in with Herrick the Berserk that went poorly. So he's got fear, Herrick the Berserk. And Ivana... It was Juchi. Juchi was the one who got the other crystal. And then Ivana also had an interaction with Herrick, but on the positive side. So she has loyalty to Herrick the Berserk, and then there's some other stuff going on, that kind of thing. So there's their plunder and the rewards. Although we still need to do reputation and stuff. I need to remember to do that. I think I've been forgetting to do adventure rewards past couple of times. But most of the time we've been doing is just been killing time, prepping up for the war, that kind of stuff. So war's over. They're in Bagnot. End of the year. We go through the end of the year phase, and then okay. So when are these guys going to get their first mission? I just roll randomly, and it's going to be Clay Day of Movement Week of Earth Season, I think. Earth Season Movement Week, Clay Day. Yeah, I was right. Is when they're going to be given their first mission. Hey, we need you to check this out and see what's going on, that kind of stuff. So we've got Sea Season, Fire Season, and since Moon Week's so far down the weeds of Earth Season that we're going to get three. Oh, we did 3 end of season phases while we were here. In fact, we caught Juchi up because Juchi had 4 end of season phases to run from last year to finish up. And there's discussion about what statistics are you working on researching, because I allow one training and one research. And training stats, again, 500 lunars. Nobody can afford that. So everybody's been just researching or practicing stat increases. And so I'm tracking, okay, these 2 seasons, what are you doing? These 2 seasons, what are you doing? These 2 seasons, what are you doing? And then they roll all those. Okay, 3 end of season phases. You guys know how to do end of season phases, right? We've got books. We all have the books, right? Or yeah, I think we all have the books. Just do it. You pick your 4 skills. In fact, it was at the end of some discussion later on after all the playing was done. We were just talking at the end. And by the way, last probably 2 hours of the live play is just end of season discussions and just chatting about things and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, it says 4 occupation skills and cult skills. Is that 4 total or is that 4 each? I had always read it as 4 total, but I was rereading that. 4 occupation skills and cult skills. Not and or cult skills, as you would think, a total of 4. They can be occupation or cult skills. It's 4 occupation skills and cult skills. So it could be read either way. Because we're talking later on as well as about, I'm trying to get up to 90% in one of my skills. If I train for, it's going to take Dave in 7 seasons of training one of his lore skills to finally get it up to 90%. It's a year and a half. It's already up pretty high to begin with because he's taken the 2 rather than rolling dice, so he's like 14% off. Does that feel reasonable? Not sure. And is 4 skills enough? If we did 8, because they're all going to be different skills. You can't, you can't stack, right? You would get less, I think, one-trick ponies if you had more skills you could give stuff to. That's something else I'm thinking about. And there was a third thing that was going, I got to think about that. Let me think about that. But that's actually how we ended the session, doing these 3 end-of-season phases for the party as they're in Bagnot, being part of the occupying force. And they're going to get a mission to go and investigate what is happening in... I forgot what it's called. But it's that land area where... that south of furthest and south of the Temple of the Reaching Moon. It's got that earth temple in it. There's the river. It kind of makes it like an island. That area, there's stuff going on there that they're being sent to investigate. And we'll see how that goes. Happy gaming. I need to get to bed.